I'm trying a little bit of experimental content here. I'm your mental curator, Johnny Hemberger, HMNS YouTube and podcast manager. I'm here in beautiful Brazos Bend State Park. I know a lot of you native Houstonians are aware of where this park is, the state park. But did you know that we actually have a satellite facility of the Houston Museum of Natural Science right here in Brazos Bend State Park? It is the George Observatory. So let's walk down this path and actually go to the George Observatory. So on the way, I'm going to see what kind of creatures we can find. My hat, fit check, is my solar-powered fan hat. When I step into the sun, the fan blows a nice breeze over the top of my bald dome. It's actually quite nice. Although it is April as of recording this right now, April, what is it? 9th, April 9th. It is very pleasant. It's probably upper 70s right now as we're walking down this path to the George Observatory. I have yet to see an alligator for myself. I have lived in Houston. I have lived in Southeast Texas since 1989. I have never seen an alligator. Everybody in their grandma that I know has seen alligators, not just at Brazos Bend State Park, but on golf courses in their backyards. It's quite a common occurrence, but I have thus far been unlucky. So every time I come to Brazos Bend, oh, there's a squirrel. Can you see it? I can't zoom in this camera mode, but I'm trying to see if I can find an alligator. If you like content like this, let me know. I figure it can't hurt to post content like this. If y'all don't like it, y'all just won't watch it. Just because I haven't seen alligators definitely doesn't mean they aren't around me, and they camouflage really well. So you think you could be looking at a stick or at a log, and it's actually an alligator. Now, I don't see any right now. I have seen plenty of big snakes that look like they could swallow me whole. That's not entirely accurate, but big snakes. I've not seen any alligators yet. And today is a perfect day to see alligators. It's nice and warm outside. It's sunny. There's literally not a cloud in the sky. Still walking down this path. As you walk down this path, I will point something out next time I come up to it. Not this is just a split in the path. But we have planetary markers. As you walk down this path towards the George Observatory, it'll say, Neptune, Saturn, Jupiter, lots of squirrels here. And it's a relative distance because the sun is at the George Observatory entrance, which I will show you. So as you walk down this path, you'll see representations of planets in their relative distance from the sun based on this scale. So the observatory is right there through the opening in the path. Here's Saturn. This is how relatively close Saturn is to the sun if the sun was in the observatory. Out this path, and here is the George Observatory, part of the Houston Museum of Natural Science. So HMNS has 3 campuses in and around Houston. The main campus at Herman Park, we call it Herman Park. That is downtown in the Museum District. We also have our Sugar Land location, and you'll never guess it, Sugar Land, Texas, which is just a few minutes down 59 from downtown. You take University Boulevard. It's a really nice campus. And we also have the George Observatory here, number 3, in Brazos Bend State Park. So as we get closer to the entrance, you'll see that we have the sun represented. There's Mercury, and then the sun. And this is the entrance to the George Observatory in Brazos Bend State Park, dedicated October 12th, 1989. You want to go walk up to see the domes? I can't show you inside right now, but maybe I can splice in some B-roll or something to show you what the inside of it looks like. We have stargazing most Saturdays. There's a wait list though. It's so popular. Stargazing around here is so popular because it's a really great place to stargaze that is close enough to the city where you don't have to drive, 2 hours out west to get to a dark sky site. We have a dark sky site right here at the George Observatory. There's one dome. I think there's a Schmid Cassegrain in there, or a couple of them. The main dome here houses our 36-inch reflector telescope. It is the largest reflector telescope routinely open to the public in the United States. So there's the main dome. I'll show you the shutters as I get closer to it. That's where the big boy 36-inch reflector is housed. Behind me is another smaller dome, which houses more, 18-inch, 12-inch Schmidt-Cassegrains and the like. As we're walking here, I will just mention, maybe I'll go around the long way to show you the accessibility. So if you need to roll up here for any reason, and I don't mean just people in wheelchairs. I have kids in strollers. I have used this path many times. Here's the main deck where all the stargazing occurs, and you go into the domes at night and look through telescopes. But this is our accessibility ramp. Not just for those who need it, but those who need it for any reason. Like I said, I have kids in strollers, and a lot of our videographers and photographers will have their carts with camera gear. And the astronomers that come out here, both professional and amateur, will be wheeling their carts up and down this accessibility pathway that goes around the main domes. And I'll show you where it comes out. I've been meaning to do more wide content. We do a lot of short form. We call them birdie shorties in our marketing group, YouTube shorts, TikToks, the like. But I wanted to do more wide content, and so this is a good excuse to kind of try that. And also to try the vlog style of filmmaking and access to content. Because like I said, if you don't like it, you haven't made it this far into the video. So this is the other entrance. The other entrance to the George. It's closed right now. It is a Wednesday afternoon. But this is how you get to that ramp. This is the rear parking lot. So if you need to, you can come park here in the rear parking lot, and then you can roll on up all the way up the pathway to get to anything you need to get to around here. So I'm actually gonna walk around the back here, as it's a shorter way to get back to my vehicle. Past the air conditioners. And let's see if on the way back, I can spot any alligators. So bye, George. See you next time, George Observatory. So let's follow from the sun while we're going on the way back to my car. Sun, Mercury, Venus, and remember this is all relative, Earth. So where is Mars? Mars is right here. That distance away from Venus and Earth, here's Mars. Let's see where the next stop, Jupiter, is. Somewhere around this path, I'm not sure if it's represented, is the asteroid belt. I'm not sure this represents the asteroid belt or just an asteroid that was discovered. Yeah, discovered here at the George Observatory in 2001. That's really cool. And at least at the time, that's how relatively far it was away from the sun and of course the Earth. Okay, so here's Jupiter. So the asteroid belt's somewhere in there. Might be where the asteroid was discovered, but here's Jupiter. And now let's keep on walking. See if we can find Saturn on our way. Going back, keeping an eye out for gators. I would hate for the first alligator that I see in Texas to be the one that got me. Congratulations, you saw your first alligator. Welcome to the hospital or your grave. Hey, squirrely, plenty of squirrels. Squirrels are not rare, really anywhere in the United States, I would think. Ooh, you wanna go on this detour down this path? There's a lake over there. I don't know if you can see it. I'm gonna go down this path a little bit and keep recording. I may do some cuts here so you're not watching the entire time, but let's see. My watch just vibrated telling me that I'm getting some steps, which is great because when you edit video as a career, you do a lot of sitting. And my watch is like, wait, what? You're doing something? wow, what's the protocol here? I haven't used this app in so long. What do I bring up? Are you walking or are you just falling downstairs? Or, oh, you're walking. Okay, good. You've been walking for 10 minutes. Keep it up. Here's not a real armadillo, obviously. But as you walk around Brazos Bend State Park, you are met with a lot of these informative graphics, kind of touch, sight, feel experiences to help you understand the nature around you. It's really, really cool. What's funny is, you know, I can see the paths that the gators would take up to the trail here and past the trail. But like I said, I've yet to see an alligator. All right, so there's, as far as I'm gonna go is this kind of dock here. So I'm gonna walk down this dock into the marsh, basically, that surrounds the lake. And I will keep an eye out for alligators. On my backpack, I do have my telephoto lens, my telephoto zoom, my 70 to 300 millimeter. So if I see one out there, then I will definitely cut to a shot of the alligator as up close as I can possibly get with my telephoto lens. Sorry, just looking at my chest the whole time. So this is where gators would love to be on a day like today, out here, catching the rays, waiting for a squirrel to hop by. But I do not see any gators over hither, maybe over thither. I am recording in 4K just in case I need to crop in to see an alligator. Thus far, I don't see any. I have the worst luck with alligators. All right, now let's look over the water. So you can see down below me, nothing in there. The tall grass, the reeds, an egret or a crane, I'm not sure, just by looking. I'm not the birder. Mike Rathke, our museum photographer, is an avid bird watcher and would be able to tell exactly what that bird was on site. Before I leave the park, there is another lake at the entrance of the park, and I'm going to try that. What a fun video it would be if I was able to record my first interaction with a live alligator, and it was me being chomped on by one. My wife would not be too thrilled with that. Funny anecdote, I haven't seen alligators. My wife is from Virginia, and she has not seen any deer here in Houston. She's been here for over 10 years, well over 10 years. She's still never seen a deer around Houston. So if anyone has grown up around Houston, you know, I grew up in the Kingwood area. Deer they're a nuisance, really. You see a dozen of them driving up any sort of random street in Kingwood, Texas, and Humble, Atascocita. You see them around Sugar Land. They're everywhere. Deer are everywhere. But my wife has not seen one. That being said, there's people who live here in Texas who've never seen an armadillo. And I know that's wild to anybody watching this who lives in Texas or lives around Houston, because armadillo they can be a nuisance. They can be thought of as a nuisance. Some people would just think of armadillos as a nuisance. They're so prevalent where they live that it boggles the mind that some people who live in Texas haven't seen an armadillo, because other people who live in Texas say, I can't get those critters off my property. Digging holes and destroying plants. All right, and walking back over this path. One last look in the water. If anyone ever needed to develop gator repellent, you know how they have like shark repellent? If you want gator repellent, just take a swab under my armpits, sell it to science, millionaire. As I mentioned, I'm not a big vlogger, so I have to admit that holding this camera out here like this feels really goofy, and I would otherwise be self-conscious. But there's not too many people here today. It's a work day, which is great. because it feels like I've got the whole park to myself. There are people. I have passed some people, and I can hear people. There's a drum circle, it sounds like, going on somewhere. So there's campsites. Again, Brazos Bend State Park. There's campsites. To quote my great-grandmother, who died when she was 101 in the year 2000, do the math. She was born in 1899. She would say, hither and thither. So here's Pluto. But there are campsites, hither and thither, lots of vultures. And the vultures, that's not a vulture. No, that's not a vulture. But there are lots of vultures. You can smell them. And I always get a little bit excited when I see the vultures because I think, oh, maybe there's some alligators feeding on a deer somewhere. Maybe where there's vultures, there are alligators. I personally have not had so much luck. But anyways, I'm gonna get in my car. I'm gonna go to the lake at the front of the park and see if I can find a gator. Let's see. Let's see if the end of this video is just a wah, 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 wah. And the drum circle is I don't want to film them without consent, but it was an elderly man and an elderly woman just getting at it, just cooking on those drums underneath a tree. And it is a beautiful day for it. I don't blame them at all. Go get it. Let's cruise through here. One thing is, if you come to Brazos Bend State Park, your Google Maps, at least, your GPS, probably says 60 miles an hour. It is not 60 miles an hour. It is at tops through the park. The highest speed limit you'll see is 30 miles per hour. Around campsites and stuff, I think it's like 15 or 20 tops. But especially when it's not busy, I like to cruise through here. The lowest cruise control that my vehicle will do is 24 miles per hour. So that's what I have it set at. This stretch, we're going back towards, this is the main road that goes through Brazos Bend State Park. And on the left and right, for the most part, is marsh and very shallow water. This is an area where I almost said dinosaurs. Not that far off, but crocodiles are not, or gators and crocodiles, they are not technically dinosaurs. Go look through our playlist, our YouTube playlist, to find out why aquatic reptiles are not, marine reptiles and such are not technically dinosaurs. So like mosasaurs, they're not actually technically dinosaurs the way a T-Rex or a Stegosaurus is a dinosaur. By the way, as I'm cruising through here looking for alligators, we live closer to T-Rex in the time than T-Rex lived to Stegosaurus. I know in movies, Land Before Time, and of course Jurassic Park, which is a whole muddy waters we're not going to get into, often T-Rexes and Stegosaurus are depicted living next to each other. That's not the case. Isn't it crazy to think that there were already dinosaurs dead and fossilized before other dinosaurs even came onto the scene? That's wild. You know, a lot of people complain about the weather here in Houston. Well, Texas, but Houston specifically, hot, humid most of the time. I like to say that we have a very extended season of very nice weather. Whenever we get the first cool down, usually in late October or by November, you can pretty much plan on the weather being pleasant. It can actually get quite cold. But from November to April, you know, November to early May, the weather is actually pretty nice. All right, there's people around, so I'm gonna be kind of quiet here. Let me put this down for a second. Yeah.
Bearing the previous egg.
I don't want to bother you, girl.
It's a pretty big sized turtle.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's all sorts of activity going on here at 40 Acre Lake. We saw that turtle burying its egg with a vulture right overhead. Hope it's protecting from the vulture. And, oh, I just lost it. Oh, there it is. See my first alligator. I'm gonna go get my better camera and see if I can get a better angle on it, or see if there's more alligators around here, and see if I don't get stung by a bee also. But thank you all so much for watching. If you like this kind of content, let me know. I figure it can hurt, like I mentioned in the video, it can hurt to post things like this. I've been trying to get into more wide content anyway on YouTube. Nothing against vertical. I dug my heels in on vertical for a long time, but that's the way the world is right now. That's what's hot, so we got to do a lot of vertical content. But my main background is kind of storyteller, wide angle content. So I like to do more of that, and that's what I'm doing here. So let me know in the comments if you want to see more wide content, either like this vlogging style, or just let me know what you want to see. But at any rate, thank y'all so much for watching. Catch you in the next one. We'll see. Bye, y'all.